I forgot to change the text. Hold on. Whoops. There we go. Grab the link real quick. Hello, hello, people who are already on their way in. Hello, hello. Give me 1 second while I get everything set up. Or while I get the pings out. Do. Stream ping. Boom. There we go. Lovely. Hello, hello. Yes, welcome in. Welcome to Dino class. This is Dino class. This is the first Dino class of this week. We'll be having another class on Saturday, I believe. So yeah. Hello, hello. Welcome in, everybody. I didn't really have anything planned out to talk about here early for once. Nice. I just kind of why are my lenses so foggy? Hold on. My really foggy. I don't know why. It's echoing? What do you mean it's echoing? It shouldn't be an uh-oh. There shouldn't be an echo. Is there an echo? Do you guys hear an echo? Is your favorite dinosaur? Nanooksaurus hoglundi. We talked about that. So I'm like, no, don't worry. Am I echoing? Okay. Cool. I'm just okay. Well, my lens is even more fogged up now, so that did nothing. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and answer that question, then we'll get into other ones. But yeah, just to kind of break the ice with today's dinosaur class, my favorite dinosaur is Nanooksaurus hoglundi. I was actually on Path of Titans not too long ago, actually playing that. If you play on Hell's Realm Deathmatch, you've probably seen me, and you probably didn't even notice it. Hi, teacher, I miss classes. Nah, don't worry about it. Do the roar? Yeah, sure. Hold on. My lenses are still foggy. I'm waiting for it to go down a bit. I don't know why they do that so much. I made a Nooksaurus OC. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Sorry I'm late. I didn't get the notification. No, we just started. Don't you worry about it. You talk about the meteor and how it's affected us today. Yeah. So actually, I posted a video talking about the wasn't talking about it, but like referring to the meteor impact. So the meteor itself, all right? So let's go like case by case, or well, not case by case, but like moment by moment, what happened with the extinction of the dinosaurs. So based on research, I've actually discovered that a lot of research tends to point towards it being springtime when the dinosaurs go extinct, which I guess that kind of adds to the level of tragedy that it was, because it was, like all the babies were hatching and like it's really, really sad. But the meteor itself was about 6 miles in diameter, and it was moving anywhere between 11 to 12 miles per second. We can judge the size and speed of the meteor itself based on the actual crater located in the Yucatan Peninsula. It's actually really fascinating. The Pseudoceratops, yes! It's probably one of the best. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Do the roar? Yeah, sure. There. I don't know if you can hear that or not. I'm hoping you can. Let's see. Any books to learn about dinosaurs you recommend? Yes. Hello, JW. Don't worry about being late. Okay, so actually sitting next to me, I have one of my favorite books to recommend to people is Dinosaurs: The Grand Tour. It's a great book. It goes over a lot of different species. Sorry, my lenses are really, really foggy today. It goes over a lot of different species, gives you general information about them. It's a great starter book. There's like, let's say, 200 plus different species. They're all organized in when they showed up and when and in alphabetical order, which is really cool. And it's all organized into the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. Very, very cool stuff. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm hiccuping a bit. Any on the Megapithecus? Megapithecus? You mean Gigantopithecus? Because Megapithecus is an arc boss. But Gigantopithecus is a large great ape species that lived in Asia. A few, I think, when did they go extinct? They go extinct maybe 2 million years ago, something along those lines. So yeah, very cool though, very very cool. Let's see. Thank you everyone who's gifting. By the way, I really do appreciate that. Giganto, no, don't worry about it. Better hide your Utah. Yeah, I know. Just want to, we should have a chicken who wants to be a dinosaur. Chickens are dinosaurs. If you're a chicken, you're a dinosaur. If you're any bird, you're a dinosaur. By the way, so actually, this is very we're going to learn about taxonomical nomenclature, all right? So as I've talked about in the past, my mother is a science and biology teacher, all right? And I actually got into an argument with her based on taxonomical designations of birds. I told her that birds are reptiles, and she disagreed, right? Now, it didn't help that my brother was also there, and he also disagreed with me. And I found out why. So there are two ways that you can organize things in taxonomy and biology. There is the, give me 1 second. I need to actually look at the word. So there is the Linnaean system, which classifies animals based on physical characteristics. So with that being said, birds have feathers, not scale. Well, they kind of have scales on their feet. They're endothermic, so they wouldn't be classified as reptiles. And she was using the Linnaean system. I use the phylogenetic system, which actually classifies animals based off of ancestry. The Linnaean system works fine as long as it's only referring to modern animals, whereas the phylogenetic system would have to be referring to everything, like in the past as well, which is actually really, really neat. Whoa! Thank you, Megan, for the dinosaur. I just noticed that. Oh my god. This is his life. Yeah. Lakota, please answer. Hawk Simulator is dead. Yes, sadly, yes, Hawk is dead. Coda, I got a new dog. Yay, good for you. What the heck? I think I found my side of TikTok. I'm glad you have. Welcome to the side of TikTok that's going to educate you about dinosaurs and make you want to cry because they all died really scared. Yeah, I'm sad. It's unfortunate you have to learn this way, but yeah, many of the dinosaurs, if they weren't within 1,000 kilometers of the impact site, their deaths were probably very long and drawn. Whoa, Marvin with the galaxy. Whoa, we just started. That was so, wow. Why is grandma teaching? No, they were scared. Yes. So, we were talking about this, but there's a lot more people in here. So there's actually some really cool evidence that someone informed me in my comment section that I actually got to look up into. So when the meteor made impact in the northern hemisphere, it was springtime, meaning all of the babies were beginning to hatch. We know this because there is a lot of pollen distribution in the fossils of, when the extinction event happened. The meteor struck in spring. I have never been more distraught. Yeah, no, it's just, whoa, thank you, wow, thank you guys so much for all of the love. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so, yeah, and it's really sad, because, but and I'll list off a few dinosaurs that would have been around to see it. Things like brachiosaurs and stuff like that. Those guys were dead. Those have been dead since the Jurassic. You have the North American Alamosaurus, which was the largest sauropod on the continent. You had Tyrannosaurus Rex, Triceratops porosus specifically. I think all or at least two species of Pachyrhinosaurus. My favorite dinosaur, Nanooksaurus. Velociraptors may or may not have been around at the time. Tarbosaurus would have seen it. Barsboldia, Quetzalcoatlus, Hatzegopteryx. It was just the Carcharodontosaurids went extinct. Those are the ones that come from the allosaurs. Those have been long extinct since about 90 million years ago, and same goes for the Spinosaurs. They weren't around to see it either. But yeah, it's wild. Yeah, do a raptor whimper. What does that mean? Is there movie time? What do you mean movie time? How do they figure out when the meteor hit? Well, they can infer that the meteor struck when the northern hemisphere was in spring due to fossilized pollen remains. So, in dried up lake beds, it appears that pollen is actually preserved really well in things like limestone and stuff like that from the time of the meteor. When they date that sediment layer, it comes out to around or just before the meteor makes impact. So yeah, it's not like hard evidence, but it does point towards it being spring. So when springtime comes around in the northern hemisphere after winter, remember, time to mourn the dinosaurs. Yeah, parasaur. I could be a parasaur. So how are aquatic fossils formed? So a lot of aquatic fossils, things like mosasaurs and tylosaurs and stuff like that. Well, there's actually two different ways. So things with like, let's say, I'll be parasaur because someone mentioned it. So let's say the things like ammonites, right? The spiral squid things, right? To keep it simple, those fossilize very easily because there are some smaller species of them that actually would like die en masse after going through ritualistic reproduction, and they would die, and then some of them would wash ashore and they would be enveloped by the sediment, and then over time they would fossilize. That's actually why ammonites are some of the most common fossils we've ever found. With other animals like mosasaurs, tylosaurs, stuff like that, there's a good chance, especially with for those of you who don't know, North America, during the late Cretaceous, was cut in half by something called the Western Interior Seaway. It's basically the North American version of the Mediterranean, right? And what ends up happening is that sea would like come and go. It would expand and shrink throughout the course of the Cretaceous, until eventually I think it completely dries up about 40 million years ago. When that occurs, there's a lot of animals' bodies that are already in the sediment underneath the water, and when that gets raised up and it's now like kind of exposed to air, the fossilization process preserves it even well, it probably would have already been fossilized if it was like buried deep enough in the sediment itself, but then we're able to find it like in the middle of like, I don't know, Utah. So yeah, Dinosaurs was already, yeah. Why do you think dinosaurs didn't evolve and build civilizations? That's because intelligence is not sacred to evolution. Evolution is not about becoming the most intelligent animal, and I think that's something like from like a perspective of a human being, something that we fall to. Right? We think that we're the most superior because we're intelligent enough to, manipulate the world around us. Evolution gave us these minds because, with pattern-seeking minds eventually led to, our brains are coded to see patterns and things. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. That's probably why we end up with things like cryptids. And this over time would develop into language and then culture and then religions, mythos, folktales and stuff like that. But dinosaurs, again, intelligence is not sacred. If a time ever comes, which I hope it doesn't, that humanity cannot survive on this planet, it will very easily drive us to extinction. If, we haven't figured out a way to, yeah. But yeah, parasaur lesson, yes. Which was the smartest dinosaur? So I believe the smartest dinosaurs are thought to have been troodontids and the dromaeosaurs. The smartest dinosaurs alive today would probably be something, I would bet money would be corvids, stuff like crows and ravens and stuff like that. Troodons, yes, troodontids. Parahai is my favorite dinosaur. Oh, awesome! This needs to be a TikTok. This is a TikTok. Decipher yes. Was there a dinosaur version of Jesus? Well, in the paleontological community, there is the meme of Raptor Jesus. So I imagine if Jesus was a dinosaur, he'd be a dromaeosaur of some kind. I'd bet a Utah Deinonychus. Hi, yes, hello. I'm sorry for repetition. My name is. Can you talk about the Cambrian? Yes. So the Cambrian, or as you've probably heard about it in school, the Cambrian explosion. The Cambrian, especially the early Cambrian, is such a confusing time for people who have to like go in and taxonomically organize all of these animals, because early animals and early plants looked very, very similar to one another. In fact, one of the oldest animals still alive today is the sea sponge. Those things very rarely move. So, by the way, you're the oldest, canonically, one of the oldest cartoon characters from Nickelodeon would have been SpongeBob, since sea sponges are like 400 million years old, or probably older if I'm being honest. But when the mid Cambrian to the late Cambrian begins, you start to see these organizations. See the first invertebrates show up, the earliest vertebrates show up. Plants and coral start to become more defined. You end up with jawless fish. You end up with early arthropods and isopods. You end up with Anomalocaris, trilobites, Eurypterids, which are basically giant sea scorpions. Very crazy. The Cambrian is an absolutely crazy time to be alive. It is so, so cool. Jawless fish. Yes. So some of the first vertebrate animals on the planet were jawless fish. They were fish that had a little opening where their mouth was, but they didn't have the ability to open or close it. In fact, jawless fish are still around. We call them leeches and lamprey now. Those are some of the oldest vertebrate animals on the planet. Let's see. Ever heard of the ocean had no oxygen back in the beginning? Well, that would be wrong, as the chemical makeup of H2O requires 2 oxygen molecules. Opinion on megalodons and your favorite underwater creature. My favorite underwater creature is Tylosaurus, and Megalodon is super cool, but I hate that people are convinced that it's still alive. It very much isn't. It is very much dead. I promise you that. But yeah, do you think dinosaurs have feathers? A lot of them, yes. Is it No, it's 1 hydrogen and 2 oxygen molecules that make up water. When we eat fried chicken, are we technically eating a dinosaur? Yes. Did someone ask me to gritty? Mosasaur is the coolest underwater dinosaur. Well, that statement is flawed, but I won't deny they are some awesome marine reptiles. Mosasaurs are not dinosaurs. Mosasaurs are marine reptiles. They're actually more closely related to modern animals like Komodo dragons and water monitor lizards. However, hold on. I'm hoping I'm changing into the right avatar. Yes, I am. There we go. I can't even see what I look like. I'm gonna have to size down. So this is Mosasaurus huffmani, I believe. Something really interesting about mosasaurs, and you'll notice this when I open my mouth, they have 2 sets of teeth. Or they have 4 sets of teeth. They have the set on the top. Oh, my hand's broken. They have the set on the bottom, and can you stop? Hold on. I think it's something to do. And they have those 2 rows right back there. So these guys are thought to have had things like forked tongues and everything too, given their relation to things such as Komodo dragons, monitor lizards, and snakes, which is actually super, super cool. Which dinosaur hit the gritty the hardest? Hard to say. I'd say the dromaeosaurs, or a dromaeosaur. Thank you, everybody, for the gifts, by the way. I really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. How did the meteor affect the sea animals? The sea animals were probably the first to go. That meteor probably had a lot of things like iridium. Actually, I know it had iridium. It probably had a lot of sulfuric metals as well that would have devastated any local ecology within the Yucatan Peninsula at that time. It basically would have boiled the waters as well, especially the nearest ones. I met you on VR chat, and he's, oh yeah, nice. Chronosaur facts. Chronosaurs are pliosaurs. They are closely related to things like plesiosaurs, and pretty closely related to, I think the closest thing to Chronosaurus or pliosaurs alive today would be turtles. Yeah. Which you can kind of see. If you shrink their heads and replace their teeth with beaks and give them a shell, yeah, that's pretty much a turtle. So yeah, dinosaur. Wait, hold on. What did that say? Dinosaur Train valid? Yeah, I love Dinosaur Train growing up. That was awesome. Can you describe the process of how most of the dinosaurs went extinct after, can you describe the process of how long most of the dinosaurs went extinct after dinos? Do you mean like as a whole? I mean, as a whole, dinosaurs are technically still around. The theropods, the Sornithischian theropods made it through. But after the immediate impact, everything within like 1,000 kilometers is like vaporized. So all the way from like the Yucatan Peninsula all the way to I think about where Mexico and Texas meet is the range of which everything's just vaporized. After the immediate after effects are as follows: the ash clouds get thrown up into the air. However, we're going to come back to the ash clouds in a second because the shock wave that meteor sent through the planet unleashed a different kind of disaster all the way on the other side of the planet. India, 66 million years ago, was by and large a volcanic nightmare. There was a massive series of volcanoes constantly erupting in India. We know this because we have preserved basalt from that time period. This was referred to as the Deccan Traps. The Deccan Traps were getting ready, essentially, probably would have gone off in the next 2 million years had the meteor not struck when it did. But when the meteor strikes, it sends a shockwave through the planet that hits the Deccan Traps and basically ignites them. So you now have a massive meteor that was going 11 miles a second and some of the largest volcanoes that have I'd argue second largest volcanoes that have ever gone off on this planet ever. Essentially, you've covered the entire planet in smoke and ash. All the plant life dies, and it basically is an ecological nightmare. Every single ecosystem everywhere basically collapses underneath everything. It is wild. Someone asked if they could go to the bathroom. Sorry I'm late. No, don't worry about it. Talk about Pachycephalosaurus. Yeah, so Pachycephalosaurus are they are bipedal ornithischian dinosaurs. I believe they actually have they have a pretty close resemblance, maybe a familial connection with the Camptosaurs, which I think is quite interesting. There was a theory, I think Pachycephalosaurus itself was originally actually 3 different species. It was Pachycephalosaurus, then there was Dracorex hogwartsia, and then there was Stygimoloch. However, Dracorex and Stygi have kind of been proven to have been like smaller or younger versions during the growth stages of Pachycephalosaurus, which is really cool. However, at the same time as Pachycephalosaurus's reign in North America, there was also the reign of smaller Pachycephalosaurs in Asia, stuff like Prenocephalae, Hermaphocephalae, stuff like that. Very cool stuff. The name Pachycephalosaurus actually means thick head, essentially. The thick-headed reptile, I think, is its entirety. Very, very cool. Do you know when Caprosuchus lived? I believe they lived 70 million years ago in North Africa. I might have to double check myself, which I'm actually going to do right here. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Oh, nice. Polygon's covering something. Hold on. Caprosuchus. We're double checking myself. Okay, it was 100 to 93 million years ago. Double check myself. Wow. Again, thank you everyone who's gifting. I really appreciate it. You talk about Carno. Yes, we can. Carnotaurus sesteri. I forget how to say its species name. I'm going to be completely honest. So Carnotaurus, I'm pretty sure... Oh, I forgot I was crouching. Carnotaurus is a large theropod dinosaur from the late Cretaceous of South America, specifically Argentina or the Patagonian region. Carnotaurus is, I think, the 3rd largest member of the Abelisaur family, which includes, but is not limited to, members such as Abelisaurus itself, Pycnomenosaurus, Rugops, Bajungasaurus, and Rajasaurus. I think it's actually really nice because there was a lot of Abelisaur content from Prehistoric Planet. It was really, really nice. But Carnotaurus is actually only really known from one really well-preserved specimen. I think the only parts of Carnotaurus that we don't have is everything below the knee. So like the leg, the shins, and the feet. However, we're able to fill in the gaps because we know Carnotaurus is a theropod and we know how theropod legs work. So, just adjusting normal theropod legs for Carnotaurus' size, and you get, yeah. These guys are crazy. They are super big. I think nearly, they could be between 7 to 9 feet tall at the hip, if not bigger, and can reach speeds up to 35 miles an hour or roughly 40 kilometers an hour, which is just nuts. Yeah. Carno's nickname meaning the meat-eating bull. No, that's not its nickname. That's literally what the name Carnotaurus translates to. The meat-eating bull, which is crazy. Also, yes, they do have these really cool lacrimal crests right above their eyes. These are more than likely used for display. And maybe, here's just an idea. There's not a real way to confirm this. They could have probably locked horns with competitors. Stuff like that. So yeah. Best dinosaur name? Thanatos thylistes, a tyrannosaur. The name meaning the reaper of death. There's also, Lythornax, which is one of the earliest tyrannosaurs. The name meaning the Gore King, which I think is just crazy. There's also Zool, destroyer of shins. To those of you who didn't know, there is an Alaskan ankylosaur that's name is literally Zool, destroyer of shins. That is its actual name. There's also the Abelisaur called Thanos. Yeah. I love Carnotauruses. Yes, they're awesome. I love Carnotauruses so much. They are so cool. Estimates on how many dinosaurs had feathers. The many raptorid theropods. So I can give you a list of families that were more than likely feathered. If you give me 1 second. Where is my... here we are. Okay, so a list of families that would have been feathered. Proceratosaurs, the Megaraptors, Tyrannosaurs, probably Compsognathids, the Dinocarids, the Ornithomimids, the Therizinosaurs, the Dromaeosaurs, Troodontids, modern birds, Oviraptorids, or just all over Raptorosauria, I guess, and the Alverasaurians are all the dinosaurs that more than likely had feathers. We just got our live. Whoa! Thank you, Cosmic Ghost, so much. You guys are awesome. How did the meteor even make it to the Earth's atmosphere? Doesn't the gases burn it up? They would have if it was going slower. That meteor was 6 miles wide and moving 12 miles a second. Think about it like this. That meteor went from the same altitude that planes fly at to ground level in less than a second. That thing was moving incredibly fast. There wasn't enough time for the atmosphere to slow it down because it literally punched a hole in the atmosphere. It was nuts. Let me out of the bit. No. Anomalocaris. Yeah, Anomalocaris is awesome. How many types of dinosaurs are there? Hundreds. If we're going by families, it's a lot. If we want to go by like major groups, you have the sauropods. You have the theropods and the sauropods, and then you have ornithischians. Theropods are self-explanatory. They're typically, actually, I think universally bipedal and leads into the evolution of modern-day birds. Sauropods are the long necks, and then ornithischians, I'm not kidding, ornithischians are literally everyone else, from your pachycephalosaurids, your hadrosaurs, iguanodontids, stegosaurs, your ankylosaurs, all of them. Ornithischians are just everyone who's left. But yeah, it is a lot. There's a lot of dinosaurs. Pterodons aren't dinosaurs. Pterosaurs or pteranodons and stuff like that are actually labeled as within the same family that gives us things like lizards. So they're not actually dinosaurs. And no, dinosaurs are not lizards. That is a misconception. Dinosaurs are their own unique group of reptiles. And yes, that does mean birds are reptiles. If you're going off of a phylogenetics. So yeah. Hello, hi, how are you? Why did dinosaurs start to grow feathers? Was it because of their changing habitat or and they had to? Um, that's hard to say. And you know what? I honestly had never really thought too much of it. It's likely that feather-like structures more than likely showed up as a way of heat regulation at first. This would have allowed things like you see the prominence of feathers start to show up in about the Jurassic when, the beginnings of modern bird evolution began. Um, and then you see its prominence in things like the tyrannosaurs slightly, especially with the proceratosaurs. It seems that it would seem that a lot of them actually develop feathers as a way to cool themselves off or to keep themselves warm, as you don't see feathers really taking over as like a dominant style until the Cretaceous, at least not like largely. Things like carnosaurs, like allosaurs, ceratosaurs, Torvosaurus, the megalosaurs, spinosaurs, carcharodontosaurs, those guys probably did not have feathers. But when the Earth transitions from the Jurassic to the Cretaceous, there's this very big shift in climate, and it kind of mixes up all of the dominant like food chain roles. Like the allosaurs kind of get pushed out of the picture. The ceratosaurs do the same. The megalosaurs about the same as well. And then you have the global climate slowly beginning to cool down, and it starts getting colder. The winters are getting harsher, stuff like that. So feathers would be very, very important. So yeah, what's 9 plus 456? I'm gonna be honest with you. I failed math. Did dinosaurs actually roar? Maybe, but not in the way that you think. So roaring is almost exclusively a mammal thing. I heard someone talking that they had found a larynx of a dinosaur, which I would be really interested to read that. They never told me where they had read it. But I'd love to look into that a bit more. But it's possible that they could have let out loud bellows and hisses, or honks and screeches. Things similar to like a mixture between modern alligators and birds. Alligators aren't dinosaurs, by the way. Just want to clear that up. They're not. They're actually much older than the dinosaurs. So yeah. Have you heard of the gaming beaver? Yes! Iguanodon. Yes, iguanodons are awesome. I love iguanodons. They're so cool. Iguanodon was actually the second dinosaur ever named after Megalosaurus in 1824. So I think that is just awesome. Love you already. Thank you. I appreciate that. Did any dinosaurs evolve into a bug? No. So bugs or invertebrates are completely separate. The last time invertebrates had a shared ancestor was in the Cambrian explosion. And that was 400 plus million years later. Years ago, sorry. True or false, Jurassic Park got it wrong and was supposed to be the Utahraptor, but not. No, that is not true. So the raptors in Jurassic Park were actually based off of Deinonychus. However, the paleontologist that was, working as a correspondent on the original Jurassic Park movie, name it was Robert T. Backer. I actually read his book. He has a book called Raptor Red. I really liked it. Who knew of Utahraptor, but Utahraptor wouldn't actually be formally described and unveiled to the public until like a week after the Jurassic Park movie had actually already come out. The real raptor they were based on was Deinonychus. And there was a weird fringe theory at the time that stated Deinonychus wasn't actually its own unique genus, but rather a member of the genus Velociraptor, but in North America. So yeah. But, and also Utahraptor, if they had based that on like the actual size of a Utahraptor, the Jurassic Park raptors would be a lot bigger. A lot bigger. Like a lot. What's some weird dinosaur names? There's Irritator Challengeri, who was named that because the paleontologist reconstructing it had a really hard time putting it together, so they called it Irritator. Oh, I thought he said something else. Oh. Uh. What was the meat eater's digestive system like? Well, for the larger ones, it probably would have been smaller. Things like T-Rex would probably only have to eat a big meal or around their body weight, maybe once every few months. Smaller animals like dromaeosaurs, especially things like velociraptors, they would probably have to make more frequent kills. Their metabolisms would be very different based on lifestyle. Even one of the T-Rex's closest cousins, Tarbosaurus batar, over in Mongolia, living alongside Velociraptor mongoliensis, those guys probably had a much faster metabolism than T-Rex itself, as they were killing much bigger animals and probably more frequently. So yeah. Once again, ask you for Sinosauropteryx. You want Sinosauropteryx? Where's my... Here it is. I'm gonna disappear, I think. Yep. Hi, I'm down here. Hi, this is Sinosauropteryx, one of the smallest dinosaurs that ever existed. It is a compsognathid, and this is how big they were. We also know that they did, in fact, have feathers like this. They were, in fact, this color, and they did have this raccoon bushy tail, which I think is super, super cool. Not sending around. Yeah. These guys are super, super cute. Biggest dinosaur? By weight, as of right now, I believe it's Argentinosaurus, but that's kind of controversial as there's a lot of new estimates coming out about Dreadnoughtus and Brachiosaurus. The longest would have been Supersaurus, and the tallest would have been Sauroposeidon. So yeah. Talk about a Marg. I can talk about a Margosaurus, so I am actually gonna... Here's what I'm gonna do. Can I... Okay. I'm gonna pull you guys back over here, and I'm going to supersize myself. So this is the scientifically accurate size, but I'm going to get a bit bigger so I can actually get behind the desk. Oh, hold on. There you go. Hey, welcome back. I'm back. But yeah, is there any evidence of dino sickness? Yeah, actually. There was a Tyrannosaurus skeleton found of, I think it was Sue, actually, who actually had signs of arthritis from around the time that she died. So, you know, which is actually really weird, now that I'm thinking about it. Is this going to be on the test? Yes! Who do you think was actually the most nurturing dinosaur any time period? I think the only way that I can really, give an answer with that is probably the go-to answer of Maiasaurus, the dinosaur whose name literally means good mother reptile or good mother lizard. Funnily enough, Maiasaurus was the first dinosaur in space. So I'm going to let you guys figure out how that happened. So is Jurassic Park correct about anything? They were correct about the T-Rex's size. If anything, the T-Rex in Jurassic Park was actually a little too small. Not by much, though. Just a little. Still a healthy weight. Oh, yeah. I was going to talk about a Margosaurus. A Margosaurus is a Argentinian sauropod. It's a small sauropod. Like, it's still like the size of a rhino. But as far as sauropods go, they are pretty small. And they had these really weird, like, neural spines coming off the back of their necks. Recent research actually shows that they probably would have been covered in a layer of skin, which I think is probably a little more creepy than if the spines were just poking out of the neck. So, yeah. Do you play Monster Hunter? Magic the Gathering? I've dabbled in Magic the Gathering. I have not played Monster Hunter in a very, very long time. I found Pig. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who's gifting it, by the way. That's awesome. Can we make a dinosaur and ride it? Maybe. My favorite gator, I'd say Deinosuchus from North America, because some research about Deinosuchus actually came out suggesting Deinosuchus almost exclusively would go after large theropods like T-Rex, which I think is really cool. Can you imagine an animal so big its entire diet is eating apex predators? That's nuts. So yeah. Can you be Argentinosaurus? I don't have an Argentinosaurus model on me. However, I do have a sauropod, if I can find it. Yeah, here's my apatosaur. Yeah, hi, this is Apatosaurus. So yeah. What have I come upon? You've come upon dinosaur facts. Diplodocus facts. Diplodocus was one of the first, I don't think it was the first sauropod, but it was one of the earliest sauropods found. They're really, really weird because the diplodocids, like that whole family, has super long bodies. Like from tip of their tail to their head, they were incredibly long. In fact, Supersaurus, the longest of the dinosaurs, was a diplodocid. But they're also really random and really weird because they seem to have had a more grazing lifestyle similar to a cow in comparison to the other sauropods like Brachiosaurus and Camarasaurus, which would have had more of a giraffe's lifestyle. So it's really, really odd. How has Spino changed over the years? More have we learned? Were they originally quadrupedal? So we did think Spinosaurus was a quadruped for a while, yes. However, new evidence coming out, I think it was, they found like an arm or like a hand or something. And the knuckles of Spinosaurus don't have the same kind of wear and tear as like the knuckles of, because they did have like full on hands and knuckles. They would have knuckle walked like gorillas. But the bones in their hands, I don't think show signs of like wear and tear from walking like that. So they were more than likely obligate bipeds. And Spinosaurus has indeed changed a lot as we learn more about it. And to those of you who haven't kept up to date, this is the current shape and build of Spinosaurus. They have this super, super long tail. Yeah, look at that. Look at that tadpole-shaped tail. These guys are really random, and it's really sad because they were probably, they were semi-aquatic pescivorous dinosaurs and probably lived in very wet, marshy environments, meaning the environments they lived in were probably very hostile to the processes that give us fossilization, which is probably why we don't find them as often as I would want to. So yeah. What do I have? Okay, that's weird. But yeah. Boreapelta. Someone asked about Giga. So Boreapelta, I'll talk about that and then I'll get to Giga. Boreapelta is a really, really, really cool dinosaur. It is a, I think it's actually in its own family of dinosaurs called the Boreapeltids now. But there was one really, really cool specimen that was found in, I think it was either BC or Alberta, where they found one in a quarry, and it was super well preserved. Like, it was so well preserved, you could see the melanosomes on their skin, and you could tell what color it was. It was a rusty, brownish red color, which I think is awesome. I have not gotten to see that fossil in person, but look up Boreapelta. I cannot speak today. Look up like an Ankylosaurus fossil. One of the first ones that shows up. It is just so beautiful. Like, it's so well preserved that you could look at it and like it wouldn't shock you. Like if you were looking at it and it just got up and started walking. It's so well done. It's so well preserved. The details. It's like it's sleeping. And part of me gets emotional when I look at it because it's just so beautiful. Anyway, the question of Giga, right? Giganotosaurus. I saw someone ask about Leopleurodon. I'll cover that next. Also, thank you for the gifts. I saw that right as I put the headset back down. So Giganotosaurus carolini, or Giganotosaurus, whichever one you want to call it. You can call it both. Is a massive theropod belonging to the family of Carcharodontosauridae. So it's closely related to things like Mapusaurus, Tyrannotitan, Acrocanthosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus itself, Meraxus, Gigas, and Concavenator, and Altospinax. Those of you who know what Concavenator is, probably a little confused. Yes, Concavenator is a Carcharodontosaurid. It's just a really small Carcharodontosaurid. But Giga was one of the biggest. I say one of because it's got very similar proportions in terms of like height and length and weight to its other relatives like Mapu and Carca itself. But they would have primarily been sauropod hunters, and the name meaning, shark-toothed reptiles. They would wrap their jaws. I actually have a Carcharodontosaurus right here, so those of you who don't know what I'm talking about can see it. So this is the namesake of the family, Carcharodontosaurus, the shark-toothed reptile. These guys have really flat and serrated teeth. And what they would have done, they would have wrapped their... Here, I'll move over here. They would have thrown their heads to the side and wrapped their jaws around the foot of sauropods, sunk their teeth into them, and then ripped off and ripped away. That was their whole hunting strategy. And evidence does show that they probably were slightly gregarious, meaning they probably lived in little families, which is actually really cool. I think that's so interesting and fascinating. But yeah, ladies, no, don't you worry about it. Any cool facts about Pachysaurus? I'm assuming you mean Pachyrhino, but we'll get to that in a very quick second. However, Gigas, as well as all the other Carcharodontosaurids, seem to disappear roughly 90 million years ago. So that they didn't get to see the end of the dinosaurs, which, depending on how you look at it, is either a good or a bad thing. God, there's hair in my headset. I need to go get a haircut. So someone asked about Leopleurodon earlier, so I wanted to talk about that. Leopleurodon, of which I have to those of you who have seen Walking with Dinosaurs, you're going to recognize this one very... Oh, good lord. Hold on, I seem to have, Hi, I'm back. So this is Leopleurodon. Leopleurodon is a pliosaur from the... Oh, I glitched out for a second there. Ignore that. And don't listen to Walking with Dinosaurs, because no, this is not 80 feet long. I think they were closer to 15. I could be wrong about that. I'm much more of a theropod guy, not much of a marine reptile guy. And no, before someone says it, this is not a dinosaur. Also, yes, this is a hand puppet, so you're looking at my hand waving around. Whee! Do a little spin. Anyway, oh, I think I just punched my microphone. It shows the way. Ceratosaur. Yeah, I have ceratosaurs. But yeah, so this guy, is it a mosasaur? No, it's a pliosaur. These guys are closely related to modern turtles. I say closely, but those are the closest living relatives they have today. But yeah, super cool. Lived in the Jurassic period, was a dominant force to be reckoned with in the oceans at the time. Absolutely amazing. I almost said dinosaur. It's not a dinosaur. Absolutely amazing animal. Such a fascinating creature. I'm going to switch into this one because there we go. Hi. This is Dinocaris. How you doing? Someone asked about Pachyrhinosaurus a second ago. Are you a professor? To you guys, I suppose I am. Did Karkar have anything that hunted them? No. They were apex predators. They were not hunted by anything. The only thing that probably could have killed a Carcharodontosaurus was either another member of that species, or the Carcharodontosaurus itself was injured or sick or ill. I'm going to have to back the camera up slightly. Other than that, I guess Spinosaurus could have, but Spinosaurus probably wouldn't have wanted to pick that fight unless it was injured. But yeah. It's my friend's birthday. Igor, you sing. Sing. I don't want to do that, but I will say happy birthday to Igor. Happy birthday, Igor. Have a good one. I hope you have a good birthday. Facts about Ceratosaurus. So, Ceratosaurs are actually really, really cool. And I have mine right here. Oh, hello. My head is in the ceiling. Hi, there we go. I should probably also turn my arms off. There we go. So this is Ceratosaurus. This is specifically the Isle model, to those of you who recognize that immediately. Ceratosaurs are a really interesting group of dinosaurs from the Jurassic period, which is where they had most of their dominance. Ceratosaurs actually also seem to bleed into the Cretaceous by a little bit. Not for long, but they're there slightly. These guys are probably the, I think they're referred to as the hyenas of the Jurassic, whereas allosaurs are seen as the lions of the Jurassic. Ceratosaurs are really scary because they're only slightly taller than a person. So if it was alive today, we would be a pretty sizable meal for a Ceratosaurus. Would be the equivalent of 2 Dave Singles. I feel like that's the hungry side of me came out for a second. But yeah, what's a fun fact about ceratosaurs is that they actually share a common ancestor and gave rise to the abelisaurs, things like Carnotaurus. And you actually see that in some of the ones that actually kept some of the crests. It was actually super, super cool. Thank you again for everyone who's gifting, by the way. I really do appreciate you guys. Eutyrannus? Sure, let's talk about Eutyrannus. What's the tiniest dinosaur? The tiniest... You know what? I'll talk about Eutyrannus in a second. I'm going to quiz you guys. I want you guys in chat right now. Tell me, what do you think the smallest dinosaur ever was? Someone said dolphin, troodon, compy, Sinosauropteryx, ant, T-Rex, crap. These are some, someone got it right. The chat went so fast, but someone got it right. The smallest dinosaur ever is the bumblebee hummingbird. Yes, hummingbirds are dinosaurs because they are birds, and birds are the last remaining remnants of the theropods. Yep. Yeah, yeah. The hummingbird is the smallest dinosaur ever. Specifically, the bumblebee hummingbird. So yeah, misleading. What you mean? Yeah, I did, because I said was and not is. Is a trick question? It wasn't a trick question because it's just true. If you, it's just not a trick. I said was instead of is, which was probably a little misleading, but someone would have gotten it simply because I said is. Yeah. What is a Spino? Spinosaurus is a semi-aquatic theropod dinosaur. The Spinosaur family actually derives from from a common ancestor with the Megalosaurs. So somebody asked me about Eutyrannus. So let's talk about Eutyrannus for a brief minute. So Eutyrannus, my second favorite dinosaur of all time. Eutyrannus Holly. Now, if you've seen my video on... Oh, a little bit of a lag spike. I apologize for that. If you've seen my video on Eutyrannus, I actually spelled the Eutyrannus' species name of Holly wrong. I put the A in front of the U, and it's supposed to go the other way. So, sorry, I'm dyslexic, I can't read, and I didn't catch it. But these guys are not actually tyrannosaurs. Eutyrannuses are actually some of the largest members of the Proceratosaurid family. I think they're actually the second largest, with Sinotyrann... Was it Sino something was the largest Proceratosaurid. These guys lived in the early Cretaceous of what is now northeastern China, and they are super, super cool. They lived in an ecosystem filled with trees, rivers, lakes, valleys, had seasonal snowfall, regular forest fires, and probably had irregular volcanic eruptions, which was actually super, super cool to learn about when I was doing that video. Donnie and Ankylosaur facts. Yes! So we actually don't have any evidence that ankylosaurs use their club tails against predators. Rather, we actually have evidence that shows that ankylosaurs use those club tails against each other, which I think is super cool. So yeah, we have evidence that they actually would use them. What's 1 trillion 11 to 5? What? I'm not a math guy. Why? Probably for mating displays, territorial disputes, as it does seem that, much like moose, ankylosaurs probably would have been mostly solitary, living by themselves. Maybe in small family groups when the eggs hatch, but they would probably get abandoned pretty quickly afterwards. Ankylosaurs were probably not the greatest parents, to be fair. So yeah. Roar. Someone, y'all want me to roar? Hold on. So it doesn't really have much of a roar, but... I don't know how well that goes as a roar. But you can have that. So, favorite dinosaur? My favorite dinosaur is Nanuqsaurus hoglundi. Professor, please talk about the lore of Alioramus. Alioramus is a tyrannosaur within the Alioramidae subfamily of tyrannosaurs. They are small, very nimble-looking tyrannosaurs. What's interesting is that, so there was a discovery, I think it was back in the 90s, in a fossil formation known as Dinosaur Park, where they actually discovered, I think, 20-something individuals of Gorgosaurus. all of them at different stages of their life, but they were all the same species. They actually discovered that tyrannosaurs change a lot during their growth, right? So when we were looking back at other tyrannosaurs that we had named that had slim proportions, stuff like Nanotyrannus and Raptorex, we actually looked at Alioramus and we thought, well, is Alioramus actually like its own thing, or is it actually just the juvenile or adolescent of like Zhucheng-Tyrannus or Tarbosaurus? The answer is Alioramus is actually its own thing. In fact, there's two separate species of Alioramus, and we know this because we have found juvenile members of Tarbosaurus and Zhucheng-Tyrannus, and they look very different from Alioramus. So Alioramus is its own unique thing. So it's very, very cool. Indominus Rex wasn't real. Talk about Archaeopteryx. Yes, Archaeopteryx is seen as kind of the quote-unquote first bird. It was I think it's debated whether or not it could actually fly. I don't think it could, but it was a very early example of early bird-like dinosaurs. So yeah, very, very cool. It's actually one of the smaller dinosaurs too, or one of the smallest. I'm new to dinosaurs. I need a starter class. Someone asked about Gigantoraptor. Hello, am I late? We've been going for almost an hour now, so I wouldn't exactly call it late. Gigantoraptor. Gigantoraptor was a absolutely massive oviraptorid. I think it was an oviraptorid. I could be wrong about that. I don't actually have a oviraptor or a Gigantoraptor avatar, so I will turn into this guy because some of you may recognize him, some of you maybe not, because it looks a lot different from its popular depiction in Jurassic Park. But yeah, so Gigantoraptor was basically a giant oviraptoran that was so big that its leg by itself was the size of an entire person. More than likely omnivorous as well, which I think is really cool. Pillow Waffle. I know that dinosaur. Yes, this is Dilophosaurus. Please do Ankylosaurus. We were just talking about Ankylosaurus. Ankylosaurus lived in the late Cretaceous. And fun fact, Ankylosaurus is the only, and I'm gonna ask you guys how this happened. Ankylosaurus is the only non-avian dinosaur that has ever killed a man. Why or how? How do you think that happened? Tell me about the death pose. I can talk about the death pose. Yes. How do you tame it? Is Dryptosaurus a Tyrannosaurid? Yes. Fossil fuels. Yes. The fossil of Ankylosaurus crushed the guy who actually found it, and because it, like, the rope that was holding it snapped and killed him, they actually lost the original orientation of the fossil, and we still have never found the skull of Ankylosaurus. And we haven't found the skull of that specimen. We have found skulls earlier. But yes, so one thing that you see a lot with dinosaurs, especially with theropod dinosaurs, is the iconic dinosaur death pose, which I think there's some actually really fascinating science about why this happens. So those of you who haven't seen it, I'm willing to bet you have, you just don't know what it's called. So when you go to museums, sometimes you'll see like dinosaurs with, and I'm actually gonna like get on the floor for this so you guys can see what I mean. Their heads will be like completely cranked backwards like this, right? How is Spinosaurus doing? Spinosaurus is doing awesome. Megalosaurus facts, one of the first dinosaurs ever found. So the reason this is because the muscles on the top of their neck, like the back side, where, like up here, are actually the muscles that control how the head moves. So when the animal dies, all of those muscles tighten, and it tightens into this pulled back position, which I think is actually very fascinating. So yeah. Kentrosaurus facts. Kentrosaurus was a stegosaurid from the Jurassic. I almost said Cretaceous there. I would have been amiss if no one corrected me on that. And it actually had some rather giant spikes on its shoulders. There is actually a relative of Kentrosaurus called Gigantospinosaurus. And don't let the name fool you. It is a very disappointing animal with a name like that, you know? It's still a cool animal. It's just a little disappointing, you know? But yeah. Hi. Hello. Hi. Is Dilo bigger than Sarah? Taller? Maybe. Longer? Yes. Heavier? No. Yeah. Ankylosaurus is an amazing one. I have an Ankylo sticker on my phone. Nice. Any Pyroraptor facts? I don't know too much about Pyroraptor itself. I do know that its design in the Jurassic franchise is just tragically, like, demon looking. Like, it looks cool. But, like, that's not a Pyroraptor. Like, what is that? That's a demon. You clawed that out of the underworld. Talk about Utahraptor, the best, can a Utah raptor beat a Dilophosaurus? Probably. Utah. I don't know actually. You'd have to ask somebody else because I'd say that's pretty even. Honestly, if I had to bet, it's pretty even fight. Can I just spit kill? No, it could not. Is it true that T-Rexes were scavengers? No. That was a bunk theory proposed by paleontologist Jack Horner. He proposed the theory because the brain cases of T-Rex were very similar to that of vultures. Unfortunately, when he had this theory, we didn't have the entire brain case of tyrannosaurs. So even if you go and you watch Valley of T-Rex, the documentary series where he proposes this idea, he's just holding half of the T-Rex's brain, and you're like, that's not, you can't use that as evidence. That's not the whole brain. But no, they probably would have taken Triceratops X. We can talk about Triceratops in a second. But yeah, no, they were very much active hunters, so don't worry, they are not obligate scavengers. Triceratops. So there's actually two currently valid different species of Triceratops. There's Triceratops horridus, Triceratops porosus. I think I might be mixing them up, but I think Triceratops porosus is the one that lived alongside T-Rex. Horridus, I don't think actually got to see T-Rex. And I'll show you the visual, like the main visual distinctions between the two. Okay, so, hi. Wow, I forgot how big I made this trike. Well, that's actually life size. Okay, so this is Triceratops porosus, all right? The main difference you're going to note, and this can be different between individuals, is that porosus has a much larger nasal horn compared to horridus, which has a more eroded-looking nasal horn. Not only that, but porosus also seems to have the bumps. You can't see it on this model, unfortunately, but the bumps along the ridge are actually more uniformly a part of the frill itself rather than jutting out like they are on this model. But yeah. Whoa, thank you so much to everyone who's gifting. It really means so much to me. I'm so happy I can, I could teach you guys about this stuff. It's just awesome. What was the most docile dino? Well, herbivores will typically, they don't really ask questions. They see something they don't like, they'll typically go for it. I think the most docile tyrannosaur is a sleeping T-Rex after it's had a good meal, because it's not going to waste any more energy than it has to. And as long as you're not trying to steal the meal that it's already had, it'll probably leave you alone. Plus, you're really small in comparison, so as long as it doesn't have kids, probably leave you alone. Sauropods were probably very nonchalant too. Did you know that Dilo did not spit poison? Yes, I did know that. We were talking about that a second ago. Tapahara, yes. Tapahara is not a dinosaur, but is rather a pterosaur. Funnily enough, Tapahara is also technically an Ashdarchid, meaning it's in the same bigger family as Quetzal and Hats, which is really cool because I didn't know that up until a few months ago. Talk about Compsognathus. I can. Are the roars different? What do you mean? Compsognathids are, or Compsognathus itself, I think shows up in, I just had the phylogenetic tree up. Hold on. I'm double checking myself. Hold on. Where are Compsognathids? All right, cool. Compsognathids show up in the late Jurassic and go all the way up until the late Cretaceous. I think at the beginning of the late Cretaceous, they do unfortunately die off, which is unfortunate, but still very, very cool. A Gold Titan, hey man, it's good to see you again. Hello, Ashley. Thank you, everybody. There you go. Thank you, Ashley, so much. What did it do? The roar? Was the biggest dinosaur? Biggest dinosaur on based on weight is Argentinosaurus. Last I checked. Here, have your roar. And then there's nice. Oh man, I love dinosaurs so much. Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, so compies showed up in the late Jurassic and go up until the beginning of the late Cretaceous. They were very, very successful. Probably were obligate scavengers feeding off of the kills of much larger theropods. Either that, or they would probably hunt down much smaller rodents, raid burrows, and eat stuff like that. Probably also dabbled in eating insects as well. They probably weren't very picky. So yeah, late for class. We've been going for about an hour now. So yeah. Lore on Minmi. Minmi is an absolutely adorable ankylosaurid. I want to say where was Minmi found? Hold on. I want to figure out where Minmi was. Minmi. Here we go. Australia. It was Australia. I had to figure it was. Yeah, it was Australia. You love me? Thank you. I appreciate it. Out of work and straight into first dinosaur class. Yes! Well, Microraptor. Yeah, Microraptor is... Thank you, Ash, for first-time gifter. Thank you so much. Microraptor is thought to have been probably one of the first dinosaurs capable of powered flight. It's a hypothesis as of this moment, because it's really hard to confirm that. But Microraptor was probably where things like, because it has 4 wings, it has 2 wings on its legs and has 2 wings on its arms. So it's most definitely was capable of gliding, and powered flight would probably come from that. Also, Microraptor's coming to Path of Titans soon, and I cannot wait because it will be... I don't think it's technically a dromaeosaur, is it? So no, it wouldn't be the next dromaeosaur. But yeah. I hope you get $1 billion. I really appreciate it. I really, if I had $1 billion, I wouldn't know what to do with it. I would probably give a large majority of it away to like charities and probably museums. I would definitely fund a lot of like research into dinosaurs, and what I think recently with those of you who saw it, Iron Mouse, the VTuber, has effectively become the most sub-2 person on Twitch, and she's doing it for the Immune Deficiency Foundation, which she suffers from that immune deficiency disease. I'd definitely throw in some charity work for that as well. That would be awesome. Can you run for president? Well, I'm only 20 years old, so come ask me that again in 15 years, and maybe. Do you think dinosaurs are coming back? Probably not. Which is sad, but that's just kind of the truth. If anything we bring back without it being 100% of the pure genome, that's not a dinosaur. That's a monster. And you made it in a lab, and it's probably going to be in pain for the rest of its life. So, I don't think we'll ever see dinosaurs. You're only 20? Yep, I am 20. Thought you were an old head? Nope. No, people always... I have legit sat in VR chat, because I am running this in VR chat. I've sat in VR chat, and people will come up to me, and they'll talk to me for an hour. They'll check my bio and see that I'm only 20, and they'll be like, God, you sound like you have 3 kids and a mortgage. And I'm like, I know! It's because my dad was a public speaker, and he has a really nice voice. So I get it from him. Are dinosaurs coming back? Maybe. 04 gang? Yes. July 8th, 2004. I'm 20, yes. Stegosaurus or Triceratops? Dinosaur Zoo in Minecraft. Wow. I'm going to say Triceratops, mostly because Triceratops was one of the first dinosaurs I ever got to help dig up out of the ground. I helped dig up a section of the ribs and part of the skull. That was like 6 years ago when I was 14, and I've done a few digs since then, and it's just nothing but good times and fun. Absolutely love it. Looked at my wife said, I'm older than him. I'm only a year older in 03. Wow, that's crazy. Let's go. He's one of us. You're the Sheldon Cooper of dinos, which makes you better than Sheldon Cooper. I appreciate that. Much like Sheldon Cooper, I also have a lot of niche interests that I don't talk about. I love dinosaurs. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. Not like a massive Star Wars nerd, but I like Star Wars. I'm okay with Marvel. I loved Minecraft. By the way, I kind of want to replace the Path of Titan stream with a Minecraft stream this week. Would anyone get upset at me if I just wanted to play some vanilla Minecraft for a stream? I think that'd be super fun. Hit the gritty? Can I hit the gritty as a quadrupedal dinosaur? Hold on. Yes, I can. It doesn't look great, but yeah, I can. Hitting the gritty as a quadruped is does not look comfortable. So yeah. Wow. Have you ever played Fossil and Archaeology mod on Dinosaur? I have, yes. Dinosaurs were never real? They are. They still are. Go look outside. They're called birds now. They're super cool. It's always funny to me when... Oh, I hit my controller. It's always funny to me when people come to me and they say dinosaurs weren't real. And then some people in the same breath will say that dragons are. I don't even bother talking to people who make claims like that because either A, they're rage baiting, or B, they have their head so far up... well, you can finish the rest of that. That I just don't even try prying their heads from it. All right, it's just someone who believes something like that isn't gonna change their mind just because a paleontologist talks to them. It's really really sad. Yeah. What about fun facts of Margosaurus? Yeah. So we were talking about this. You guys, this is my sibling. I think my siblings are actually in the chat. At least I know my brother is. But yeah, so a Margosaurus is a really, really weird sauropod from the I forget when it was, but I know it was in South America. They're really odd for having these strange neural spines running up the backs of their neck. They seem to be in pairs, and research has shown that those neural spines were not covered in keratin, but rather were actually covered in a layer of skin, giving it this very odd silhouette. A very cool silhouette, but it's a very odd dinosaur. But then again, there are odd things about every dinosaur, right? Only reason we think some dinosaurs look normal is because we've been desensitized to them. When in reality, I mean, look at Triceratops. This animal's weird. It's literally an animal the size of an elephant with 3 massive horns on its face. That's nuts. So yeah, Skibbity or Sigma. Oh god. Are crocs still considered dinosaurs? No. Crocs were never considered dinosaurs, as crocodilians actually belong to their own group. They are crocodilomorphs, or crocodilians, or whatever you want to call them. They're actually completely separate from dinosaurs. The last time they probably shared an ancestor was back in the Permian, if I had to take a guess. Any out there theory that I believe in? Are there dinosaurs in Florida? There probably were, but Florida's environment is very hostile to the fossilization process. Okay, I came up with this idea myself, all right? And I know it's not something that is possible, or it's not plausible, and probably didn't happen, but I choose to believe that tyrannosaurs, when they were young, like, you know, like how cats like to like knit, or like, was it like baking bread, where they'll do like the thing with their paws? I choose to believe that baby tyrannosaurs did that with their arms when they were younger. Where's proof raptors were social? There's actually not a lot of proof that raptors were social. In fact, there's a lot of evidence to the contrary, that the smaller raptors were more than likely solitary throughout most of their lives. As I believe evidence of a Deinonychus tooth actually shows that it had a very unreliable diet in its early life, meaning more or less they were left to fend for themselves for the most part. So yeah. Troodon, sadly, I don't think exists anymore. It got ripped apart by other dinosaurs. It seems that the original holotype fossil of Troodon has been labeled as chimeric, which means most of the bones that were a part of the holotype actually belong to several other animals and not Troodon itself. But I can talk about troodontids themselves. So troodontids are a really cool offshoot of dromaeosaurs. They evolved separately from dromaeosaurs, but they're basically cousins. They're a lot skinnier, a lot more thin. Their brains are actually a lot bigger. So they were probably more intelligent and super weird. I think the largest troodontid, which is actually tall enough that it could look you in the eyes, is Latinavenatrix, which is super cool. Thinks Spinos are aquatic are wild. Yeah, Spinos were not fully aquatic. I love Latin. Latins are awesome. Hold on, wait, what does that say? We're the proof of packs? Gregarious behavior is hard to prove. However, we actually have a lot of evidence for things like packs with things like tyrannosaurs. There's actually more evidence that tyrannosaurs were pack hunters than there are for raptors being pack hunters. The proof being that they seem to have scarring across their faces when they were dueling. That could have been overmating and stuff like that, but we have actually found what seems to be like multiple different species of or probably not, multiple different examples of pack-like behavior in tyrannosaurs across multiple different species of tyrannosaurs. I think Gorgosaurus and Albertosaurus are the most likely candidates for stuff like that. Tyrannosaurus rex probably lived in small dispersal groups throughout their teenage years and would slowly, they would either stick with their siblings. There's the scene in Prehistoric Planet Season 2 where there's the two brother Rexes and they hunt down a Netmontosaur together. But hunting in pairs would be likely. And then they would probably hunt in pairs with their mate as well, as long as, they weren't nesting or anything, which is actually really cool. You tell us about your favorite. Yeah, I've actually talked about my favorite dinosaur so much. I love talking about my favorite dinosaur, but I've talked about it a lot. My favorite dinosaur is Nanuqsaurus hoglundi. It's a smaller tyrannosaur. I think I actually have a video on it on my page if you want to look into it more in depthly. We don't actually know much about Nanuqsaurus, but the name means the polar bear reptile. The polar bear reptile Hoglund, which I think is like a town next to where it was discovered. So yeah. My personal favorite, late Cretaceous, northern Alaska and Canada. Super, super cool. Do you have an avatar of it? No, unfortunately, I do not, as the only time I've ever seen a 3D model of Nanuqsaurus other than Prehistoric Planet is in Path of Titans, and I do not have the permission, nor does the guy who makes these models have the permission to put that model into VR chat, as that model is made by a private group. And that would be theft. These are the classes I need. I know, right? I'll make you you'll make me a 3D model of Nanuqsaurus. I really appreciate that. Medusaceratops. Yeah, Medusaceratops is a really cool Centrosaurian. Yeah, I like that one. I forget how to say it. It's like a Chowyangosaurus. Yeah. But yeah, Medusaceratops, I believe, is actually a Centrosaurian ceratopsid, so it's more closely related to things like Pachyrhinosaurus and Styracosaurus, of which I have Pachyrhinosaurus right here. Hold on, give it a minute. Oh. Hi, hold on. Wait. Hi, how you doing? Oh, I'm in the ceiling again. Hi, how you doing? But yeah. Caprosuchus. Caprosuchus isn't a dinosaur, but it's very, very cool. I think the name, I believe a nickname they gave it was the boar croc because it had those big, like tall teeth like a boar. Super cool. What do you think of Furocosaurus and whatever it was called? Isn't it the raptor? I've seen that around. It's interesting. I haven't heard too much about it. Is it true that the dinosaurs recognized today may not even... wait, hold on. The dinosaurs we recognize today may not even look like how we think. What, you mean like our interpretations of non-avian dinosaurs? Or do you mean that, like, their modern relatives like birds look, like, so far removed from them? I'm going to take it as the former. But science in recent years has actually been able to, like, as science improves, we're actually able to learn more and more about them. So the way they look probably will continue to change until we settle on things. However, their basic shape and the way that they move are probably fairly accurate for what we understand and have now. So those of you who are interested in things like crocodilians and stuff like that, there's something that you may... Or have a pet iguana, for that matter, or monitor lizard, or what have you. They have these little tufts of fat right where their heads meet their vertebrae, like right where their skull meets their neck. And they're I believe I've heard some people call them dragon pouches. I love the idea that T-Rex had big old like fatty necks and with dragon pouches and stuff. I think that is so cool. But I think like with how research is going with like the ability to map out their bodies, fill in the gaps, tell how big their organs are, where their fat deposits more than likely were. I think, we're just gonna, they might change a little bit, but I think the general idea of what we have is fairly accurate. I mean, think about it like this. Rexy from the original Jurassic Park isn't far off from what an actual T-Rex looked like. The main things, Rexy's skull is a bit too blunt. The eyes aren't facing forward enough. She doesn't seem to have lips. She's missing an entire section of her ribcage, and she's not nearly as chunky. Other than that, Rexy looks good. So yeah, thoughts on Sinoceratops? What a weird animal Sinoceratops was. What do you do for a living? I am an amateur paleontologist, and I also go to schools and I teach about evolution and dinosaurs and birds. So I get to go to schools and give presentations. In fact, I talked about it a while ago, but I have another one coming up soon that I'll try and get a recording of. So yeah. I also do this part-time as like a job. You're a scientist trying to resurrect extinct dinosaurs. Is it legitimate or is it just a hoax? I mean, you could, but they wouldn't be completely dinosaurs. Oh god. Which dinosaur would adapt to the world today best? Well, ornithomimids probably would fare pretty well as they have a lifestyle very similar to ostriches. Pterosaurs would probably adapt quite well. Things like pteranodons, dimorphodons, rhamphorhynchids, those would adapt quite well. Rhamphorhynchids might get out competed though. I think dromaeosaurs, maybe the smaller dromaeosaurs could have. I don't think the bigger ones could have, but they probably could adapt pretty well to the modern world. Other than that, hard to say. But yeah. Wow, thank you so much for all the gifts, by the way. I really do appreciate it. There are many different species in hold on, I missed that question. Were there many different species in now Central European area? Yes, so that area was called Hatseg Island. There were many different types of hadrosaurs, sauropods, and even the large Hatsegopteryx, the giant Esdarkid pterosaur that stalked the island and served as the island's apex predator. That was during the Cretaceous. During the Jurassic, you would have had things like allosaurs, ceratosaurs, torvosaurs, stegosaurids of many different kinds, sauropods of many different kinds, stuff like that, maybe early birds and all that jazz. Very, very cool. Pogstream, yeah, we'll be back. Which dino is the most accurate in Jurassic Park? Hard to say, but I'm going to say Carnotaurus. Mostly because Carnotaurus, there's not a lot that is wrong about that Carnotaurus. It's slightly dated, and it also, by the way, Carnotaurus doesn't have an elbow, so I'm not sure why they gave it an elbow joint. Carnos and Abelisaurs did not have elbows, so that's really weird. You love me? Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. What the heck is a Dunkleosteus? So you spelled it wrong, but I'm dyslexic, so I'm not going to get on to you too bad for that. So Dunkleosteus, aka the armored fish, was one of the world's first super predators. It was one of the first apex predators ever, and they were massive, nearly 15 feet in length. And yes, that's going to sound like really small because we used to think they were like 40 feet long. No, they were about 15 feet. They had these super big, bulky, armored heads, and actually didn't have teeth. Rather, the teeth that they did have were actually just parts of their skull that jutted out of their mouth, which is actually crazy, you know? But yeah. Were there ever intersex dinosaurs? Probably, yeah. First met Sunk in the Hungry Shark World and Evolution game. Nice, yeah. Everyone, it's me, Honey. Hello, hi. Can I go to the bathroom? Yes, you don't have to ask me. You can just get up and leave. Because I think asking to go to the bathroom is ridiculous. I don't control your bowel movements. As long as you come back to class. T-Rex lurking outside the window. You know what's scary? If there was, you probably wouldn't have seen it. Tyrannosaurus Rex was an ambush predator. And almost dead silent all of the time. Remember that next time you go walking in the woods at night. Anyway, uh, let's try not to scare off the rest of the audience. They also scavenged. They could have, but they were also predators. How are you today? I'm doing good. What's my favorite dinosaur game? Right now, it's Path of Titans, as I was just playing that not even like an hour ago. What does dino horns feel like? So the horns of dinosaurs, this guy doesn't actually have horns unless you are talking about the ones on the top of its crests, but rather has a bosk. They would have been sheathed in layers of keratin, so the same stuff that your fingernails and your hair are made of. And this kind of goes for everything from like claws to horns to bosks to crest, stuff like that. All of it would have been layered in keratin. So it would feel very similar to like how a rhino's horn feels. I doubt much of you have felt the horn of a rhino, but they're very rough and like full of these bumpy edges and stuff like that. So it would have felt very rough, unless like it's possible that things like triceratops that have those big horns could have actually rubbed their horns into trees, maybe to make them look a bit more smooth and stuff like that, as that is very likely. Why is this person saying that in my chat? What are your thoughts on the Compsognathids? Compsognathus. I think Compsognathus is very, very cool. What have you stumbled upon? You've stumbled upon Dinosaur Class. We talk about dinosaurs, and it's a lot of fun. This is VR chat, by the way, if you're curious of what I'm running this on. So I'm gonna mute this person. Oh, they've been muted. I'd like to give a massive shout out to our moderators. I don't know. I know I've seen Not a Raptor in here. I don't know if Katie's here. Massive shout out to the moderators for catching that. They are awesome people. Love them to death. Thoughts on Dilophosaurus? Probably butchered the name. You actually spelled that right. Dilophosaurus is a really it's actually a lot bigger than you would think. As we were talking about it a second ago. These guys are big. Hold on. Big. There we go. And funnily enough, they have no neck frill. They do not spit venom, but they are big. In fact, most Dilophosaurus specimens that have their arms intact actually have a lot of damage to their arms. Probably meaning their arms served as a big part of their hunting strategy, which is actually really cool. So yeah. I think I was actually talking about in my Discord. By the way, shameless plug, we have a community Discord server. Link in my bio. If the link doesn't work, you'll have to open the link in browser. Just a little reminder, because people keep telling me it doesn't work. But yeah, love accurate Dilophosaurus? Yes. You have a Dinochirus avatar? Yes, I do. My favorite dinosaur is the Nooksaurus. I do have a Dinochirus avatar, and it is right here. Give it a second. My internet's been acting up today. I apologize for that. Also, the sounds this one makes, listen to this guy. That is nuts, man. Honk. Yes. So, fun fact, these guys are the largest theropod that have walked across Asia. And, you know, it might not look like it, but they are a lot bigger than life. They are absolutely massive animals. They're super long, too. Look at this long tail, right? And feathers are speculated to have been on this dinosaur. Get about here. Now, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something that's really cursed now that I've shown you this dinosaur and you've gotten used to it with feathers. You ready for this? Hi. They look so bad without the feathers. How big were T-Rexes? They were about 12 feet tall. They were he's not handsome anymore. Yeah, he's bald. I'm sorry you had to look at him like that. But here, we'll get a different color palette for, you know, his feathers. So yeah. You have any scary dino facts? I'm actually going to be holding on to scary dino facts because now that it is October, I'm going to be starting a series that will probably be coming out Friday where we're going to talk about spooky facts about dinosaurs. And I'm going to start sharing information about species that I think would have been horrible to meet in person. So, yes, we have a whole series coming up. What do you think of the Godzilla franchise? I love the Godzilla franchise. I'm a huge nerd. What do you think is the most dangerous dinosaur that doesn't eat meat at all? Any ceratopsid. Those things are like elephant moose. All right? And elephants already run the fates of any animal that gets too close to it. Like, elephants will charge rhinos and hippos and giraffes without question. Like, I've seen videos of bull elephants charge. They are violent. And then you put a moose, and then, like, you add, like, giant horns on the front of their faces, and which elephants, you know, they're not technically horns on elephants, but they're tusks, so they're actual, like, teeth. Yeah, any ceratopsid would have been violent. Allosaurus. Allosaurus is really, really cool. That family actually gave rise to the Carcharodontosaurid family, which I think is really cool. Really nifty fun fact right there. Facts about T-Rex from Paleopines. I don't have any facts about that T-Rex, but it's funny that you say that. Because I have him right here. Hi, how are you? This T-Rex is so cute. He's just so happy to be here. How are you guys? You ready to learn about some dinosaurs? I am back. Stegosaurus facts. Oh god, I'm not answering that question, Tyler. Stegosaurus actually had. Whoa, thank you guys so much for all the gifts, man. It really does mean a lot. So Stegosaurus, and then someone asked about Utahraptor. So Stegosaurus actually had, and this isn't like widely known, and I want to correct something from Camp Cretaceous. If you watch Camp Cretaceous, no, Stegosauruses did not shed their plates. Their plates were osteoderms, meaning they were basically bones embedded within the skin. If those fell out, they're not growing back. Stegosauruses had a massive bone on the end of their tail, which actually had 4 spikes. The bone itself is called a thagomizer. It's a misconception that each of those points are called thagomizers. Rather, the bone that like makes up those 4 spikes itself, it's all one really, really big bone. That bone itself that makes up those 4 spikes are the thagomizers. Like, that's thagomizer. So yeah, whoa, thank you, Tony, for the dinosaur. Whoa, that's awesome. Gold sent you the message. What's up? Did someone send me something that I missed? Oh, someone's put something in the art channel. Oh, that's cool. Sorry. But yeah. I took the dinosaur train to get here. Awesome. I'm pretending to understand and it's working. Yeah. So, bird of prey, if you have one. Red-tailed hawks, because they're native to my local area. And they, you know, the normal, like, American bald eagle screech? The ree! Or, God, that was awful. I really hope no one was screen recording. But like, you know what I mean. That's actually not what a bald eagle sounds like. It's that is actually a red-tailed hawk sound. I think it was Benjamin Franklin. Whoa, Tony with a second dinosaur. Whoa, can I be a sauropod? Sure, thanks. Thank you so much, Tony. Yeah. But yeah, favorite bird of prey is red-tailed hawk. Now, someone asked about Utahraptor, and I did want to talk about Utahraptor. Utahraptor is the largest dromaeosaur that we know of, reaching anywhere between, I think, like, on average, being 6 to 6.5 feet tall at the hip. They were very large, roamed, well, early Cretaceous Utah, as well as Texas and New Mexico. And they were actually really effective at taking down things like smaller sauropods that lived in the area with it. I think they were called ostrodons. I could be mistaken, though. I think they were ostrodons. Still big, but, you know. I think they... Also, Utahraptor weighed as much as a polar bear, which is crazy to think about. But, yeah. Very, very cool. Whoa! Pin with another... There are so many dinosaurs showing up today. Oh, my God! You want to see the true size of Apatosaurus? So I can't actually fit into frame. I can barely fit one leg into frame. These guys are big. They are very large. So yeah. Yeah, they are big. Yeah. They're also let's go to I know, wow, that is are they fighting for top dono? That's nuts. What wait, don't do that. Um Opinions on Iguanodon. Iguanodon's awesome. Probably one of my favorite herbivorous dinosaurs is Iguanodon. I remember someone asked me what my favorite horned dino was at one point, and I think my response was Pachyrhinosaurus, the one horned dinosaur that doesn't actually have a horn. I thought it was really funny. But yeah. Do you have a Utyrannus avatar? Yes, I do. I think I was hanging out as a Utyrannus a second ago. I want to get VR Chat Plus so I can get more avatars. But yeah, hi, here's my Utyrannus. It's the one from JWE2, which is really, really cool. The only problem I have with this one is the Carnos actually have horns. Yes, they did. They had lacrimal crests located above their eyes. Argentinosaurus time. What was the size difference between that and Apatosaurus? I think Argentinosaurus was like 10 times, or maybe not 10. I'll play a safe bet with 5 times larger than Apatosaurus. 5 times. I might be mistaken. And it would also depend on what you're using as a metric for like large, because you can measure largeness or bigness or size on multiple different things. You can measure it in height, you can measure it in length, you can measure it in weight, stuff like that. So yeah. But what was it I heard someone say? Opinion on Troodon? I like the Troodontids. Though the status of Troodon as a genus is called into question as of recently. There was one guy that I saw is just like, what if instead of measuring things by like length or height or weight, we measure them by water displacement? I was like, what? Why would we do that? So yeah, whoa, Pen for the whoa. Thank you so much. That is crazy. Thank you so much. Your whole live is Alan, a scene from JP3. Yeah, that's essentially what this is. You remember the I have a Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptor somewhere, I think. It's just the rabbit's just Alan. Peanut and Tony. Whoa! Peanut and Tony are fighting. Oh god. You talk about Shrinkosaurus. I'm trying to remember, even though it's not a dinosaur. Yeah, actually. So yeah, Shrinkosaurus is a really weird, archosaurian reptile from the early Triassic. It is such a weird animal that if I described it to you, it would sound like I'm describing a mythological dragon. It was basically a giant quadrupedal reptile that I believe it was a Pseudosuchian, and it had 2 massive horns on its head, and it was carnivorous. It is an absolutely wild-looking animal. It is super, super weird. Wow, that's... Holy crap. You beat my... Wow. Anyway, Therizinosaurus! Yes, I can! Hold on, wait. How come the largest Allosaur specimen was larger than the largest T-Rex specimen? I don't know what allo specimen you're looking at, but I have never seen an allo bigger than a T-Rex. Unless we're talking about Saurophaganax. So you might want to double check. Someone asked about Therizinosaurus. I would change in my Therizinosaurus avatar if I actually liked the Therizinosaurus avatar that I have. So Therizinosaurus has the largest claws of any animal that has ever existed. I think I actually have a Therizinosaurus claw sitting 4 feet behind me. And they're about 2.5 feet long, measuring with the curve. The one behind me is. In life, they could have grown up to about 3 feet, which is crazy. The claws were actually probably not used as weapons, as Therizinosaurus was actually herbivorous. And the recent studies I've seen on things like on how fragile the claws were in life actually show if they used them in a slashing or piercing movement, they probably would have broken. Could T-Rex have your current feathers and coloring? Full-grown T-Rexes probably would have, like, with a full-grown T-Rex, full feathering would have probably been more detrimental than it would have been beneficial. just because they lived in a very like hot, humid ecosystem. So it probably would have been like it would probably be like putting a coat on an elephant in the middle of the Serengeti. Like that's gonna just hurt the animal. You don't want to do that. Technically, do dinosaurs have arms? Well, if they don't, I would like to know what this is. Yeah. So yeah, no, they do have arms. Some dinosaurs just have smaller arms than others. Whoa, okay, they're fighting again. Oh, good lord. Can Spinosaurus swim? It could swim on the top of the water. Probably wasn't a great swimmer, but yeah. The claw, yeah. There you go, final get. Thank you too so much. You're awesome. I love you guys. Facts on Shantungosaurus. Shantungosaurus was an thoughts on Sarcosuchus, very cool. Shantungosaurus was the largest of the hadrosaurs. I believe it was native to Asia about the late Cretaceous time period. Probably would have seen things like Boreapelta and Tarbosaurus. Well, probably not. There might be some overlap in both time and geological positioning. Maybe. I'll look into that a bit more, actually. You talk about Postosuchus. Oh, good lord. Postosuchus was a really weird terrestrial crocodilian. And what was that? Oh my god. Sorry, I just noticed something. Anyway, yeah, so Postosuchus was a almost fully terrestrial crocodilian. And what separates them from modern crocodilians is that they would have probably held their limbs under their body rather than to their sides, meaning they were more adapted to like running on land, which is a very scary thought. And Tony with another dinosaur. Good lord. You guys are crazy. You know that? Tony with another one. Okay, you guys are actually nuts. I'm getting really scared. Really want an answer for that? I'm at. What you mean, my friend? That is nuts. Thank you guys so much. You guys are. What's my favorite Jurassic movie? I actually like the second one the most, but the first one's a classic. You deserve it. I don't really deserve it. I'm just kind of a guy relaying information, but I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. I really do. You guys are super, super cool. Best ever. Thank you so much. How do I acquire Theory Claw? I got it from some guys that make some really high quality. Okay. So the Theory Claw that I have is in fact a replica, but it actually has weights in it, and it's very excellently crafted, so it looks really real. But it is based on an actual specimen that I think is located in. I completely forget what museum it's located in, but I think it's in China. But yeah. And you know, how accurate is JP/JW? With every passing year, they get more and more inaccurate. I'll just put it like that. You know what? I'm gonna say this now. I got beef with the design choice for the Baryonyx and the Giga. Those ugliest looking designs I've seen in that franchise. It's nuts. I don't know. Saw the video about how T-Rex actually sounded. Is it true? If you're referring to mine, then yes. Largely normal vocalizations from T-Rex would probably sound like that. I do actually have a video on that on my page if you haven't seen it already. But, you know, stuff like that. What do dinosaurs eat? Just about everything, including each other. Lakota, saw an article about a 100-year-old extinct bird called the night parrot. Found alive. Found alive? Maverick, you're in my Discord server. Send that to my my Paleo News chat. I'd like to take a look at that. This is so cute. Thank you. Is the Utyrannus avatar accurate? For the most part, yes. I do have one issue with it. It's not long enough. The head, the animal itself was a lot longer in person. But if I go up to its normal size, you'll see what I mean. They look very stubby on their front end. But yeah, they would have been a bit longer. But other than that, yes, it is largely accurate to what the animal probably looked like in life. So yeah. Yeah, thanks for doing this. Of course. I love educating. I love talking about dinosaurs. Okay, so I'll say this. I've had some people approach me about because if you haven't noticed, I'm not neurotypical at all. I have a lot of issues. I'm slightly autistic. I have ADHD. I have an anxiety disorder. I have dyslexia and a very weird type of epilepsy that only activates when I'm asleep. So that's odd. Um, I had someone ask me how I got around my excuse me for a second while I grab my charger. How I got around my social anxiety in order to talk to you guys because I've sat here with audiences of 2,000 people, and I'll tell you how I get around it. I'm passionate. I like what I do, and I love talking about it. That's how I get around it because it completely goes over the social anxiety because I'm just passionate about teaching people. So that's how I get around it. So if you're looking to do something in the online world, whether it be content creating or educating, doesn't even have to be in a live stream format. You could be posting articles on Reddit for all that matters. Just do something you're happy about. Do something you're prideful about. Do something that you want to do. So yeah. Dinosaurism, yes. Very inspiring. Thank you. I try to be. I try to I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of influencers today where you ask them, it's like, oh, how do we get started? How do we get a head start? And they all say, don't. I'm not. I'm here to say, do what you want, but make it sure it's something that you want. I would be doing this if no one was here. I would still be doing this because it's something I want to do. So yeah. My favorite thing in life. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. What are we learning today? Well, I think we might wrap up class in a little bit, but we've learned quite a lot. So actually, while I have almost, we're like, what, 50 people away from 500 viewers? If you've been here for the whole class, I would like to know something that you guys learned that you thought during this class that you thought was interesting. Something that you learned while you were here. Do I watch Dynafacts? I do. He liked one of my videos, and I have not gotten off of that high yet. That was such a cool thing. No, I'm late. No. Don't worry about being late. Death Pose. Yes. Very cool. Everything. Yes. I learned I spent a lot of money to support you. Thank you. Thank you, Ped, so much. You guys really didn't have to. I learned an Ankylosaurus killed a man. Someone said Yu-Gi-Oh time. Can you share? How do I find the Discord? The Discord should be in the link in my bio. If the link doesn't work, then you'll have to open the link in the browser. So, I'm going to answer a few more questions, but I'm going to preface this now, and I'll say it afterwards. If you ask a question, and I haven't gotten to it, or I missed it, or something or other, don't worry. You can either join my Discord, and I'll get to your questions as soon as possible. You can ask it in the general chat. I'll more than likely be in there in a few hours after stream. Or you can go to one of my more recent videos, and you can leave a comment there, and I'll get to you as fast as I can. Now, let's get to... Can humans win a fight with a T-Rex using modern tech? Yes. Instant follow. Thank you. I've been studying to be a paleontologist for years. Thanks for the confidence boost. Of course! If there's one thing that everyone loves, it's dinosaurs. I don't trust people who don't like dinosaurs, all right? I don't trust them. Fins, let's see the Physis. A really cool dinosaur, a really important dinosaur as far as the fossil record is concerned. They kind of paved the way for theropods in the future, which I think is really cool. Is Spinosaurus bigger than Giga, and who would win? Spinosaurus is taller and longer than Giga. Debatably heavier, but there's, Giga was kind of lean, to be fair. But what's interesting is that Giga actually had a cousin that lived alongside Spinosaurus. A cousin that was around the same size as Giga, that being Carcharodontosaurus itself. There is some small evidence to show that there were struggles between the two species, but largely due to niche partitioning, Spinosaurus sticking to the rivers and the marshes, and Carcharodontosaurus staying to terrestrial hunting, they didn't really overlap too much. So yeah, very cool stuff. What is it? Favorite dino game? Right now it's Path of Titans. Battle Tank deletes animal from any point in history? More than likely, yes. Smallest dinosaur? The smallest dinosaur alive ever, actually, is actually alive today. It's called the Bumblebee Hummingbird. And I did a whole thing with chat where I asked that, and a lot of people were surprised. What dinosaur lived in Belfast? Belfast is, I want to say, Ireland, right? Hold on. Belfast. Yeah, oh, capital of Northern Ireland. So you guys would have had things like Megalosaurus. You would have had Baryonyx, probably Stegosaurs, Torvosaurs. You would have the land that would have connected like the British Isles to the mainland of Europe at the time. So would have had a lot of stuff in reality. The Scottish dinosaurs. Actually, what's funny, I was about to mention this. There have been stegosaurids found in Scotland. So that's pretty cool. So you guys have some pretty interesting Jurassic dinosaurs. Wait, hold on. Can pterodactyl pick up humans, or is that a myth? Did they pick up dinosaurs? So pterosaurs actually weren't adapted to picking things up with their feet. Rather, they would actually pick things up with their mouths. Now, pterodactyl is probably not the animal that you're thinking. First off, they're not dinosaurs, but you probably already knew that. Pterodactylus, which is the full name, is actually only has a wingspan of about 3 feet. And they're actually much smaller than you would imagine. Only being about the size of a pigeon when standing next to one, I imagine. They're actually rhamphorhynchids. The one you're thinking of is Pteranodon. Pteranodon would have more than likely been pescivorous, meaning it would eat mostly fish instead of like land animals. The pterosaurs that would have in fact eaten land animals would have been things like the Asdarchids, Thalassodromeus, Tapahara, Quetzalcoatlus, Phosphotodraco, Thanatos Dracon, Hatzegopteryx. Those are your big ones, the ones that could pick things like people up and fly away with them. So yeah. You know what the most accurate dinosaur games is? The most accurate dinosaur game I've ever played is Prehistoric Kingdom. Especially now with the fact that they fixed their T-Rex's lips. So yeah. What's my favorite dinosaur? Nanuqsaurus hoglundi. That's interesting. Thank you. Of course, yeah. What's he looking at? I have to look up in order to see my chat, unfortunately. So I constantly look like I'm like there's a wasp on the ceiling, and I'm like, nobody move. There is a wasp in the classroom. Fun fact, did you know that ants and wasps are part of the same family? I think they're part of the same family, but they're very, very similar to one another. It's very interesting. But yeah. Your tail is out the window. I know, it's the only way I could fit in here. How have wildfires impacted some dinosaurs that eat plants? Well, wildfires would have been pretty common, and we do actually have evidence for wildfires within the times of the dinosaurs. As I'm pretty sure everyone knows this now, but fire, it was not invented by humans. It was discovered by humans, and we learned how to control it. So yeah. But yeah, it would have been, is it U-Tyrannus for JW2? Yes. More than likely, seasonal wildfires are pretty healthy as far as all things are concerned. In fact, that's why nowadays they don't really stop wildfires that happen in like Yellowstone, because there was that really, really bad wildfire that happened like 30 something years ago, and it nearly took down the entire ecology of Yellowstone. Wildfires are a necessary process, but they have gotten dramatically worse due to human intervention and actions. So yeah. Roar, please. Okay. You talk about the cool Gorgonopsid was? Yeah, Gorgonopsids were crazy. I will roar for you because they asked so nicely. Actually, you know what dinosaur I haven't been this whole stream? Hold on, give it a second. I haven't been my T-Rex, and I think that's criminal. So here, have my T-Rex roar. There we go. Yeah. I think he got bigger. What other birds do you like? I really like birds. I'm sorry. No, you're fine. So actually, me and my family have been working on this really pretty front yard garden at our house recently, and as of right now, I'm gonna say a finch and blue jays, because those are the ones that I've seen coming around my house, and they're very, very pretty. And it's so nice to have a place like in my front yard where animals feel welcome. And it's really nice. We have 2 bird feeders, a hummingbird feeder, and a birdhouse all out there, and it's just so nice. I love to sit out there and just watch the birds come and go. It's so pretty. But yeah, please come to Umas Amherst. What is that? Gives about Albertosaurus. Albertosaurus is, hey, I see you, Ruby. Albertosaurus is a tyrannosaur from, well, Alberta, living between, I think they go extinct what? When did they, I forget when Albertosaurus lived. Give me 1 second to double check myself real quick. Albertosaurus. Here we go. Albertosaurus. Okay, 71 million years ago in the late Cretaceous period. Yeah. Wow. Apparently their walk speed is estimated at 8.7 to 13 miles an hour. That's kind of scary. What's the slowest dinosaur? I'm going to say ankylosaurs, because they got to be walking around with all that weight on their back. I'm going to say ankylosaurs, if not sauropods or something of the sort. Yeah. All right. Someone asked Giga or T-Rex who would win. 8 out of 10 times it's going to be T-Rex. It's just the way that those 2 animals hunted, the way that they fought, it would have been such an uneven match for the Giga to start with. All right. I do actually need to take this headset off. It is starting to get uncomfortable. All right, with all that being said and done, if I did miss your question, 1, I'm really, really sorry. I'm only human, and I can only get to so many people within the 2 hours that we're usually live. You can ask me those questions in the comment section of my videos. I'll get to you as soon as I can. You can join my Discord, ask me the questions in general chat, and I'll get to you guys within the next few hours after I've settled down after stream. With all that being said and done, I want to thank every single person that liked, that shared, that commented, did everything, because these streams would be nothing without you guys, and I absolutely love y'all to death. And I'd love to give an amazing special thanks to everyone who gifted this stream. It is an absolutely amazing, and I love you all. Well, don't worry. The VOD for this stream should be up tomorrow. It'll be on my YouTube, and you can go look at my YouTube. We can go over the VOD, and you guys can watch the VOD. So yeah. Oh god, they're gifting more. I need to stop before they start draining their bank accounts. I love Therizinosaurus. All right, with all of that being said and done, you guys have an amazing rest of your Wednesday. I will see you all Friday for, I haven't decided if I want to change the Path of Titan stream to a Minecraft stream. We'll see. I'll deliberate on that. Now, all of it being said and done, you guys have an amazing rest of y'all's day. I will see you all Friday. Bye-bye!